So, how is everybody today? Good? Okay, cool. So, once again, I have a somewhat short lecture for today, and then Wednesday we're going to do the exam here in class, and that'll be it for this week. So, relatively manageable week again. Let me pull up Blackboard here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So this brings us up to lecture slide deck number 5 on competitive rivalry. We're still in this area of the handbook model right now, Sam. And this corresponds with chapter 5 in your book, Competitive Rivalry and Competitive Dynamics. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about competitors engaging in competitive rivalry. In order to gain an advantageous market position through competitive actions and competitive responses, which all generate competitive dynamics and actions and responses taken by all the firms competing in the market, which then feeds back into more competitive rivalry. Got a little model of competitive rivalry here. It starts with the concept of market commonality and resource similarity. And those two things combined lead to the drivers of competitive behavior, so awareness, motivation, and ability, which then leads to two different behavioral possibilities, the likelihood of attack and the likelihood of response. Attack is influenced by things like being first mover or being a late mover, the organization's size, and quality of products. The likelihood of response is motivated by factors like actor's reputation and market dependence. Those actions then eventually lead to outcomes in terms of market position and financial performance, which leads in a feedback loop back into reassessment of market commonality and resource similarity. So it's important to determine who and how we compete. And there's two concepts here to think about. Market commonality, which is the relative overlap of competitors with respect to the demand of customers. And then Resource similarity is the relative overlap between competitors when it comes to the similarity of resources or supply of tangible and intangible resources. So, asking the question, who do you compete with, and how might you measure market commonality and resource similarity? Well, we've got a matrix for measuring that. It looks kind of like this. So, on the y-axis is market commonality, whether it's high or low, and on the x-axis, resource similarity, high and low. And there's 4 different quadrants that I want you guys to be able to determine about the company that you're studying and the competitor that you're studying for that company. So if those 2 companies' resource bases are very similar and they tend to target the same customers in the same niches, that's going to put them in quadrant 1 here with a lot of commonality in both areas. If they tend to be very different in their resource bases, but have very high commonality in the types of customers that they target, that's going to put them in quadrant 2. Low levels of both of these, bless you, resource similarity and market commonality are going to place a company in quadrant 3, and then if the resource similarities of the 2 companies are high, but they don't really target the same customers, that's going to put them in quadrant 4 of this matrix. So there's a number of factors that affect whether a company, the likelihood of a company taking an attacking or defensive posture in their competitive moves. The factors affecting the likelihood of taking an attacking posture could be that the company wants to be a first mover. They may have significant funds available for research and development. They may be targeting gains in loyal customers by being the first brand in a particular segment. You could also be a late mover and have that be a motivation for attack as well. Yes, Luigi.
Sorry, can you pop back one slide real quick?
Yep.
We're all in quadrant 1, correct?
What's that?
We're all in quadrant 1.
We all, what do you mean?
With Globus.
Right?
Yes.
With Globus, yes.
Because we have the same exact market, the same exact resource similarity.
Yes, although as the game goes on, your investments in R&D and your investments in worker training and your worker salaries end up creating some companies that have bigger resource base and others that have a smaller resource base, and your price quality rating starts targeting different customer segments. So as the game goes on, you migrate from being here to being here.
And can you migrate from one quadrant, like from 1 to 3, without going through 2? Flow through 2.
I would say normally you have to go through 2 to get to 3. Does that answer your question? Okay. Other questions? So, factors affecting likelihood of attack, like we said, first mover. Could also be that you want to be a late mover. You want to wait for another company to develop a market first and then come in and take advantage of the learning curve that they've already established. Perhaps come in and undercut them with on prices and profits. Organizational size can be a motivator for the likelihood of attack. Small firms tend to be quick and flexible in the way that they attack. Big firms tend to attack other big firms. Product quality can be a reason for wanting to go on an attacking posture. Performance, features, flexibility, all of those different quality features could be a reason to put your products out there in the market and attack rather than defend. And then finally, fast versus slow cycle. Slow cycles tend to provide protection, tend to be a demotivator for attack. Fast business cycles tend to encourage reverse engineering and imitation and increase the likelihood of attack. So going from talking about attacking to talking about the defensive, defensive strategies counter challenges by, first of all, lowering the risk of being attacked. Second of all, weakening the impact of each attack. And third of all, influencing challengers to aim their attacks at other rivals rather than at your company. Ways to block an attack. Alternative technology. Ways to block an attack or motivators to be in a defensive posture rather than an attacking posture. If you have alternative technology of some kind, if you're introducing new features or models to your products or services, if you're maintaining economy-priced options, if you're enhancing your support function, giving volume discounts to dealers, or if you signal to challengers that retaliation is likely. All of those things tend to be motivators for taking a defensive posture in your competition. Before I go on to market positioning maps, let me pull up your case analysis template again. And we'll scroll down. So, the tools we're talking about in today's lecture are part of customer and competition analysis. So, those same segments of customers that you went out and did interviews of customers for, we're going to rate those same segments based on the level of resource commonality and resource similarity and market commonality, and then rate whether your company is taking an attacking or defensive posture. So one example of these segments, if we look at who's doing Nike? That's what I thought. Okay. And then we've got Adidas too, right? So Nike or Adidas, your segments might be shoes, clothing, and accessories. So after you've interviewed customers for each of those areas, and you've done market sizing on one of those areas, and then you've done your generic competitive strategy for those three segments, you're going to go down here to competitive attack defense posture and copy those same segments. So we've got shoes, clothing, and accessories. And if we pull back up that matrix again, so Nike and Adidas, do you think that they target very much similar customers, or do they target different customers? Okay, so we're going to be high on market commonality. And do you think are the companies similar in size? Do they have similar manufacturing operations? Do they have similar resources? Okay, so that's going to put those two companies in quadrant 1 when it comes to shoe manufacturing. On
The document?
yes. Sorry about that. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, no problem. So in shoes, we're going to select. Oh, yeah, we said quadrant 1, right? And then, do you think Nike takes an attacking or a defensive posture in the marketplace? Okay. And why is that? What makes you think that they're an attacking firm?
Constantly on the leading edge of technologies.
Okay, so you would give a brief explanation for why it's attacked. You're going to select quadrant 1 through 4 here for each of the 3 segments. Fill those out. Delete the instructions. So clothing is probably going to be 1 as well, and accessories as well. So, oops. And if we think that they're, copy. There we go. And if we think they're attacking these segments as well, we're going to give an explanation for each of those, and then change the font for the whole table to black, and you're done. Got it? Okay. So, moving back to the slides again. Oops. Market positioning maps. So a lot of you are probably familiar with this from marketing courses you've taken. Market positioning maps are one of the most common ways of comparing competitors in an industry. And it's very important with these maps to have differentiable X and Y axes. So some common X-Y axis criteria are price and quality not on the same axis. So if I grab a marker and I draw 2 axes here, X and Y, and I put price here and quality here, what happens? Huh? No. As what happens if the price goes up, what usually happens to quality? Yeah. So price and quality are pretty much always going to look like that. All the companies are going to be on a line like this, and that doesn't tell me anything value added. So I do not want price and quality on the same axis. I want them on different axes. Or I don't want them on different axes, I want them on the same axis. Excuse me. Price and quality are basically the same thing. You could do product selection down here, product features. You could look at distribution network, resource bases, business model, or things that make you go, in general. Anything that is interesting and novel that differentiates businesses in your industry is a good factor to put on your x-axis. So here's an example of a novel way of looking at the automobile market. We've got price and quality on one axis here, and the variety of models of cars on the x-axis here. So Porsche and Ferrari, for example, have very few models and have a very high price and quality point. General Motors, on the other hand, has a lower price and quality point, but they have a lot of different types of models of cars. Hyundai and Suzuki tend to have low prices, lower quality, but just have a few niche models that they focus on. So this map allows us to see differences among the competitors in the auto business by choosing a novel axis like model variety. If you do want to use quality on this axis, rather than just talking about general level of quality, there's some specifics of product quality and service quality that you could use to actually put quality on the x-axis. Product quality dimensions like performance, features, flexibility, durability, conformance with pre-established standards, serviceability, so ease and speed of repair, aesthetics, perceived quality. These are better ways to represent product quality than just simply quality by itself if you're going to use it as one of your X or Y axes. And the same thing with service quality. Timeliness in doing whatever the service is in the promised amount of time, courtesy, consistency in giving all customers a similar experience each time, convenience, completeness, and accuracy. Good ways to differentiate quality and actually use it as an X or Y axis in your market positioning maps. There's also another way of comparing competitors that I like to talk about a little bit in here from a group called SCORE. SCORE stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives. It's basically a volunteer organization of former executives who do consulting work for businesses. So they have a system for comparing assets between competitors, so taking a look at comparing resources, and it's kind of in a tabular or matrix format rather than a graph. So they start by identifying competing businesses, determining key information and resources, and then collecting information on pricing, benefits, size, brand image, things like that. And then they go from that data collection to the creation of a matrix that looks sort of like this, with factors on one side like products, price, quality, stability, appearance, etc. And then they assess the focal business here, take a look at the strengths and weaknesses of that focal business, and then take a look at competitors in the other categories, the other columns. So an alternate way of doing competitor comparisons rather than the market positioning map. However, what I want you to do for your case paper, your case analysis document, is actually create a market positioning map. So if we go back to the template, right below competitive attack defense posture is market positioning map. So this is going to be in your own words again. There's not a database associated with this. I want you to draw a chart like this that tells me something I didn't already know about the company you're focusing on and one of its main competitors. So if we look at Starbucks, is somebody in here doing Starbucks, I thought? No. Yes, you guys are? Okay. So Marshawn, right? What would be some good axes to describe Starbucks and one of their competitors? Well, first of all, what competitor are we going to look at? Huh? McDonald's. Okay. And what are some criteria we might want to put on the axes here? Price, okay. And then what do we want to put down here? Okay, so types of drinks. I like that. And maybe we could have coffee focus and general focus. So McDonald's has a lot of different types of drinks, not just coffee. Starbucks tends to be focused on coffee. So we would position Starbucks further this way and McDonald's further this way. How about price? Who's higher on price? Starbucks. Okay, so Starbucks is going to be up here, and McDonald's is going to be down here. So that tells me something that I didn't already know about the two different companies. After that, I also want you to write below. I want you to write below the matrix here. Justification for y-axis. Starbucks tends to have higher prices than McDonald's, period. For this reason, we have rated them higher on the y-axis, period. And then same thing for justification for x-axis. McDonald's is focused on a broad variety of drinks. Starbucks is focused on coffee specialty drinks. Therefore, we have placed Starbucks further to the left and McDonald's further to the right in our diagram, period. Okay? And those brief descriptions go below the chart in your case analysis paper. Make sense? Okay. In the record speed of 30 minutes for an hour and 15-minute class, I have gotten through my lecture already. So if you guys don't have any objection, I'm going to call it quits there, and we've got the exam on Wednesday.